Earlier, Dawn Richard, former member of the girl group Danity Kane, concluded her testimony against Combs. She claimed to have seen Combs abuse Cassie several times, and she said she begged her to leave him.
The entire court stopped. It wasn't just the noise that disappeared. It was as if time had frozen. Neither the clicks of the stenography keyboard, nor the whispers of the audience. Nothing. Just silence, and an almost palpable tension in the air. Until the door opened, and he entered. 50 Cent, dark suit, serious expression. Steady gaze, no smiles, no jokes, no memes. For the first time in years, the rapper who always talked too much was going to speak with weight, under oath, and the whole world was listening. It was at that moment that Combs looked up, and what was seen on his face was not contempt. It was not arrogance. It was fear. The man who for decades sold himself as untouchable, a millionaire, king of the party, and master of the game, was now standing before the only person who had never been afraid to confront him. And the most frightening part, 50 Cent had a folded piece of paper in the pocket of his blazer. And when he sat in the witness chair, the world stopped again. "I'm not here to humiliate anyone," he began with a firm voice. "I'm here because it's long past time to stop pretending that no one knew." Absolute silence. No one dared to breathe loudly. What was to come next was not just any testimony. It was a denunciation, an exposure, a code being broken live. 50 Cent and Combs were never friends, but they were never enemies either. At least not officially. For years, 50 Cent teased Combs with jokes, memes, and hints. He called him weird, controlling. He dropped ambiguous phrases, posted questionable photos. Everyone laughed, thought it was just rapper teasing, but it wasn't a joke. In 2014, 50 Cent posted a montage of Combs and Rick Ross in a mood that was a little too close. Everyone laughed, but there was already a warning there. In 2018, on The Breakfast Club, he told a strange story. He said that one day Combs invited him to go shopping, that he would pay for everything. "That was strange to me," he said. "What kind of man invites another to go shopping and says he will pay for everything?" At the time, everyone laughed except him. Back to the court. The prosecutor asked who he would start with. He answered with a name that made the room uneasy. Usher. According to 50 Cent, Usher was the first piece of the puzzle. When he was 14 years old, Usher went to live with Combs. Combs himself called the place Flavor Camp. "We always wondered what kind of man puts a teenager to live with him," said 50 Cent, looking straight at the jury. He mentioned a famous 2016 interview where Usher talks about the period with a nervous smile. He talks about cereal, about silly fights, but his gaze doesn't lie. That wasn't nostalgia. It was trauma disguised as a joke. And then the bomb came. Combs controls people with fear. He makes it seem like fun, but it's power. And when you're trapped in it, it's hard to get out. It was then that 50 Cent took the folded paper out of his pocket. This is not a revenge list. It's the list of truth. The judge called for silence in the gallery, but it was too late. The first name he read, Usher Raymond, then Justin Bieber. And the room went silent. Justin was just a boy, 15 years old. Combs was already a grown man. What kind of man says on national television that he will be the guardian of a minor for 2 days? And no one questions it. The prosecutor asked if he had evidence. "I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I heard from those who were there, and what they told, it wasn't a music class." 50 Cent then spoke about Bieber's sudden withdrawal, his emotional crises, public breakdowns. All of this was a consequence of a dark start in the world of fame. And then he paused, looked at the paper, took a deep breath. "Let's talk about Fabulous." The rapper has always been discreet, almost untouchable. But no one forgets the episode on the Drink Champs podcast. Combs looks at him and says, "We've never partied together, right, Fab?" The awkward smile, the glance away, the change in posture in the chair. "I was there, I saw it. That was not a joke, it was fear." 50 Cent said that at a private party. Combs insisted that Fabulous go to his room. He refused, saying he just wanted to go home. In the end, he escaped through the back. That's what Combs does. He creates situations where saying no can cost you your career. And then he shot back. "Ask him if I'm lying." But the next name surprised everyone. Kevin Hart. The most famous comedian in the world has seen too much. He mentioned a live stream where Combs said, laughing, that he had woken up next to Kevin. The comedian even laughed, but the look changed. That was not laughter, it was panic disguised. And then 50 Cent explained how Combs' parties worked. No security guards, confiscated cell phones, confidentiality agreements, locked rooms. He makes you cross lines, and then He controls you. The judge asked for silence for the third time, and 50 Cent shot back. Have you ever seen a man smile while dying inside? Watch these recordings again. He mentioned Gene, Combs' former bodyguard, and the episode when he went to an adult store. The next day, he accompanied Combs and Ja Rule to a hotel. Ja Rule supposedly said, "You better not go in now, it's kind of weird in there." He wasn't talking about music. When asked why Gene never testified officially, the answer was simple: fear. These people don't feel protected. Combs has money, power, lawyers. Whoever speaks loses everything. And then 50 Cent looked at the jury and said, "But I don't need him, and I'm tired of seeing people being destroyed in silence." He took a deep breath, and I haven't even said all the names yet. They know who they are, and they know I'm talking to them. The next name, Osiris. Young, charismatic, a smashing hit, and suddenly, the collapse. 50 Cent described lavish parties, expensive gifts, an invitation for a trip to Jamaica. Both posted photos of the same hotel, from the same view. They just weren't together in the pictures, but the message was clear. He was caught, like the others. He asked them to show a live stream of Osiris crying, saying he was alone, lost and directionless. That was a cry for help. Combs approaches, envelops, controls, and then discards, and when he discards, the person crashes. The court was silent, but the world outside was already boiling. Newspapers were bursting with headlines. Networks were crashing. Celebrities were disappearing. Old photos were being deleted. Brands were deleting campaigns. No one defended. No one explained. And then came the phrase, "This here isn't even the complete list." And he put the paper in his pocket. The message had been given. The court was no longer just a trial. It was the beginning of a downfall. And the industry knew there was no turning back.